Welcome to Game 2 of the 1973 World Series. The National League champions, the New York Mets, versus the American League champions, the Oakland A's. Brought to you by Gillette, makers of Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant, the anti-stain antiperspirant, and by Chrysler Plymouth, featuring the beautiful new 1974 Chryslers and Plymouths. It's going to be warmer today than yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Temperature will probably be 80 degrees. We've had 5 gorgeous days of California October weather, and again, the bright sun here in the Oakland Coliseum. The crowd would look to be bigger today. I'm Curt Gowdy, along with Monte Moore and Tony Kubek. Lots of complaining going on about this World Series before Game 2. The batters of both squads complaining they can't see the pitches as they come out of the white shirt bleacher fan. Also, the bright sky in left field, of course, is bothering some of the outfielders. The A's are complaining about their own hometown fans, saying they're not enthusiastic enough. And the Mets are complaining about their dumb bats yesterday when they hit those line drives and those hot shots right at somebody. The pitchers got away with mistakes yesterday because of the batter's inability to see very well at the plate, and we might have another low-scoring game today. We have 2 left-handers on the mound. Vida Blue will be going for Oakland, and Jerry Koosman, the hero of the Mets pitching staff in the 1969 World Series, is their man. Let's get over here now to Monte Moore, the broadcaster of the Oakland A's. Find out about Vida Blue. They say he hasn't still won a big one in his young career yet.
Well, Curt, that's what is said, but actually he's won 20 games this year in comparison to 6 last year. He was a winning pitcher in an all-star game for the American League, the last all-star game the American League won. This ball club, the A's, is not hitting right now, and I'm sure the Met pitching has a lot to do with that. And as Dick Green said yesterday, I think, Curt, he hit it right on the nose. Defense is going to be the difference in this series with this kind of pitching.
Now, he was the defensive man yesterday.
And a defensive mistake cost the Mets a run, and as a matter of fact, cost them the ball game. And we have a good look at that and the big plays of yesterday's 3rd inning of the game. In that 3rd inning, Kenny Holtzman, the Oakland A's pitcher, is the man who got the first hit to get it all started. Holtzman had not had an official at-bat all year since the designated hitter rule has come. He got Matlack at a 3-ball, 2-strike count, guessed fastball, got a fastball, and hit it down the line and left. And Kenny had to run hard, and he slid hard in the second base, cutting his knee right there, and he was out of the ball game very shortly thereafter. Here's the big play. Campaneris hit an outside fastball right through the legs of one of the most dependable fielding second basemen in baseball, Felix Millan, who made only 9 errors all year. Holtzman scored on the play, and that left Campaneris at first. They had him picked off, as you can see, but he never goes back when he's picked off, and he just kept going. The high throw to first base from Matlack allowed Campy to steal second base, and that brought up Joe Rudi, one of the A's best clutch hitters. He was looking for a pitch he could drive anywhere. It was an outside pitch. He drove it to right field, and Campaneris scored from second base, what proved to be the winning run of the ball game.
All right, that's the way it went yesterday. Rusty Staub, by the way, is going to be in the Met lineup today. He took batting practice. He still has a painful right shoulder. He says, I can do everything but swing and hit. And he says, that's what my profession is all about. But it's getting better each day. And now, before the game, Tony Kubek, our colleague, had a conversation with the New York Met manager, Yogi Berra. And let's see what they had to say.
Yogi, you're down 1 game in this World Series in 1973 to the Oakland A's, but you don't look worried.
No, I feel fine, Tony. That's only 1 game. You know, you still got to win 4 to win it.
What'd you think about this ballpark, the fans in this town, and, of course, the Oakland A's team? Learn anything new about them?
Well, Tony, we never played them, you know. My gosh, the only 2 I know, actually, is Campaneris and Green. I was still playing when they were over there, and we don't know too much about their fit, and they don't know too much about ours.
How about Jerry Koosman today?
Well, we hope he's ready. He's had his 4 days rest, and he's a pretty good money pitcher.
Is Carmen all right?
Fine, good.
She called all the shots yet?
No, she's not calling.
Yogi, thank you. Good luck today's ball game. I know you got a little trouble in ear infection and stuff. Is your team healthy?
Yeah, well, I'll try to stop. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Yogi Berra, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's go back upstairs.
Carmen is Yogi's wife, and his son played on the winning football team yesterday at the University of Massachusetts, so outside of that earache, he's in a good mood today. And now we're going to meet the starting lineups, the squads of the Oakland A's and the New York Mets, and we'll have the ceremonies of the first pitch, so let's go down on the field.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum for the second game of the 1973 World Series. Here are the official lineups. First, the New York Mets. Here's the manager of the New York Mets, number 8, Yogi Berra. Batting first and playing third base, number 11, Wayne Garrett. Batting second and playing second base, number 16, Felix Millan. Batting third and playing right field, number 4, Rusty Staub. Batting fourth and playing left field, number 21, Cleon Jones. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 28, John Milner. Batting sixth, the catcher, number 15, Joe Rudi. Batting seventh and playing center field, number 25, Don Hahn. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, number 3, Bud Harrelson. Batting ninth and pitching today, number 36, Jerry Kuzman, who's warming up in the bullpen. And now for the defending world champion, Oakland A's. Here's the manager of the A's, Dick Williams. Batting first and playing shortstop, number 19, Campy Campaneris. Batting second and playing left field, number 26, Joe Rudi. Batting third and playing third base, number 6, the captain of the A's, Captain Sal Bando. Batting fourth and playing center field, number 9, Reggie Jackson. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 18, Gene Tenace. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 22, Jesus Alou. Batting seventh, the catcher, number 10, Ray Fosse. Batting eighth and playing second base, number 1, Dick Green. Batting ninth and pitching today, number 14, Vida Blue, warming up in the bullpen. And here are the remaining players and coaches of the Oakland A's. Ladies and gentlemen, bearing the colors today is the Alameda Naval Air Reserve Color Guard from Alameda, California. Today, the Oakland A's band, the Swingers, will accompany Tennessee Ernie Ford, who will sing our national anthem. And now, to honor America, let us all join in singing the national anthem.
Well, it's a good, okay?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled
the 1973 World Series will get underway after the ceremonial first pitch, right after this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the commissioner's box directly behind the A's dugout, where Bob Hope will throw out the first ball.
Well, we've had right-hander Hope on the mound with a ceremonial first pitch. There are the A's taking the field. And the umpires assigned to today's game, Augie Donatelli will be behind the plate representing the National League. Jerry Newdecker of the American League at first base. Paul Pryor of the National League at second. Russ Getz of the American League at third. Harry Wendelstedt of the National League on the left field line. And Marty Springstead of the American League on the right field line. Vida Blue on the mound, and with left-handers Holtzman and Blue for the A's, Matlack and Kuzman for the Mets, the starters in the first two games. This is the first time since 1963 that four left-handers have started in the first two contests. Sandy Koufax and Johnny Padre started for the Dodgers in the first two games of the '63 World Series. Whitey Ford and Al Downing for the Yankees. Right-handers will be going Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. Tom Seaver for the Mets and Jim Catfish Hunter for the Oakland A's. Tony, let's analyze Vida Blue.
Well, we saw him in that American League Championship Series against Baltimore. He gave a strong 6 innings. And, Monty, I know he had the kind of fastball he's had many times late in this year. He was outside and down at good velocity at times, and all of a sudden he tried to go to his breaking ball and slider, and he got hurt by the Etchebarren home run. But he's become a pitcher.
Yes, he has. He's throwing a pitch this year that he himself calls a slurve. It's right between a slider and a curve.
And a slurve?
Yeah, and Vida said it's a slurve.
All right, we're going now to Game 2. Wayne Garrett stepping in for the New York Mets, and stepping in here for NBC to handle the play-by-play, the outstanding broadcaster of the Oakland A's, Mr. Monte Moore.
Thank you very much, Curt, and hi again, everybody. Wayne Garrett, .256 hitter for the year. His brother Adrian played with the Oakland A's very shortly a year or so back. Vida Blue starts him off and misses low and outside, ball one.
Now, Monty, the Mets are waiting for this man to break out. He was their hottest hitter in September, but he hasn't hit in the playoffs in the first game of the series.
There's the Blue Blazer as Vida came back inside on him. He started him off low and away. And you'll see Vida, if he has his control the way he wants it, doing just that now. Early in the year, he didn't have that good control. He was throwing mostly fastballs and just throwing them. The umpire at first base has asked for something to be removed, I believe, behind the home plate area. There's a man who had a white sign down there right behind the backstop.
And a cover of a tape recorder was sticking up, evidently throwing a glare at first base.
Vida hit the outside corner at 2 strikes. You notice Vida's number 14, and you who remember Vida from 1971 remember that he wore number 35 to fame, and fortunately, but he went back this year to his high school number. This just misses. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Vida wore this number in high school in football, where he was quite a quarterback, as well as baseball. Missed with 2 close ones. It's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Rusty Staub and Felix Millan are both on deck, limbering up, getting ready. Vida threw it right by him. Strike 3. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the picture, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Here's the second baseman of the New York Mets, Felix Millan, and what a year he had. .290 batting average. Live ball 1. I would imagine that he's made up his mind to lay off by the Blues high fastball because it takes off. If it's coming up there high, it's going to get higher. That one just blows right on through. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. He doesn't give you much of a strike zone. Swinging late, he fouls it off.
The Mets are having trouble getting around on him the same way the Orioles did for 5 innings. The right-handers you saw swinging late. Garrett, that third strike blowing right by him. He's just as quick as he was against Baltimore the other day. But the thing is, now we'll see how long this lasts.
Now the umpire's asking that same man to take that sign down off the videotape machine. It's really making a glare for Gene Tenace over at first base.
Notice one thing, Monty, in this ballgame. Joe Rudi in left field is playing a little bit deeper today off Felix Millan.
Strike! Called it, nailed the outside corner. Millan doesn't believe it, but he's gone.
Blue the other day, as quick as he was against Baltimore, struck out only 1 man. He's nailed the first 2 today.
He's had that outside corner. Look at this pitch.
Typical pitching pattern these young pitchers use on the Oakland A's staff. They like to go away. Ball was in the strike zone as far as height, but from the angle it was difficult to tell if it was outside or in.
Here's Rusty Staub, who did not play yesterday. Takes high for ball 1. Rusty had 3 hits in the playoffs. They were all 3 home runs, and all 3 off left-hand pitching.
He hits left-handers as well as he does right-handers.
Well, he just threw that ball right by him, and this was going to be the interesting thing to me, Curt, to see if Vida would challenge him inside here today because of that sore shoulder. He went right after him right then. Two balls, 1 strike to Rusty. Foul tipped it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't know if you could see on that last swing that when Staub went into his follow-through, his right arm and hand came right off the bat. He's going to be swinging with that left shoulder and left hand, trying to come over the top on the ball and protect that right shoulder.
Got that bat ready. It's really up in the strike zone. You can see he ended up with 1-hand swing right then. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out.
Let's watch the Staub swing once again in slow motion. Keep your eye on that right shoulder, hand, and arm. There he drops it, a twinge of pain. He's had several shots in the shoulder.
Vida misses low. He's gone a 3 ball, 2 strike count.
I noticed during batting practice he was just trying to lay the bat on the ball and poke it to left field. The shots he had were cortisone. 3 shots in his shoulder.
It's like Ray Fosse wanted that pitch outside, and apparently Vida shook him off.
Monty, will be interesting, too, when he gets there's Fosse behind the plate. Interesting in the outfield with Staub, because before the ballgame he could not throw at all.
See where Fosse puts his hand. He put it over on the left leg. He wants it outside. Over the mound. Campaneris got a tough play, but he made it. And the Mets are out in the first inning. The score, the New York Mets nothing. The Oakland A's coming to bat.
Jerry Koosman had a strong second half of the year for the New York Mets. In the 1969 series, he started twice, and he won twice.
Koosman, like Blue, has become a pitcher just 2 years ago. He used to strike out about 1 batter per inning. Now he is a control pitcher, does not strike out as many, has 4 pitches, fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Depends what he has when he goes out to the mound as to which pitches he'll throw, the ones that are effective on this particular day.
From looking at his statistics, Curt, he must have had an awfully tough luck year. with an earned run average of 2.84 to win less games than he won. 14 wins and 15 losses. Here's Bert Campaneris. One strike to count. National League umpire Augie Donatelli behind the plate. They tell us that he gets close enough to the catcher at times. He puts his hand on him. Keeps that kind of contact. Campaneris taking a shot to right field on the Koosman fastball. It's no balls, 2 strikes.
Koosman's had all kinds of problems. In '68, he and 2 of his buddies were babysitting while their wives went to a Broadway show, and he burned his pitching hand with some hot popcorn butter. Scalded it. Nearly cost him his career.
Wow, he didn't get on top of that curveball at all. He really let it get away from him.
He wore bandages in that pitching hand for months. He thought he was through. And
the Oakland A's are wearing a white uniform today. They call it their polar bear white, and they only wear them on Sunday. They have 3 uniforms. Bud Harrelson had a busy day yesterday. Gets Campaneris. 1 out.
I told Harrelson he was approaching the record for most chances yesterday in a 9-inning World Series game, and he didn't know it. I think he said he handled 15 chances in one game this year in a 14-inning game.
He was all over this place yesterday. Here's Joe Rudi, who drove in Oakland's winning run yesterday. For the season, Joe hit .270, and most of that was after the All-Star break. Solid 300 hitter last year. Really had his troubles this year. There's the changeup by Koosman, and he's high with it. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Matlack said, I definitely went against the scouting report yesterday, pitching to Rudi with Campaneris at second. He said, we know he likes the ball up and out over the plate. And that's right where I threw it. Change up again, and trying something different on him today.
And you know, Monte Koosman came back from arm trouble in '70, '71. He labored with a bad arm those 2 years. Completely recovered now. Not quite the velocity he used to have, but a better all-around pitcher.
Big guy, 6'2", a 208-pounder.
Incredibly strong.
He's behind Rudi, 2-0. He goes to the fastball, but it really wasn't a zinger. He's in there for a strike.
And he's one of the 10 best-dressed men in Morris, Minnesota. There are only 9 men in the town. We kid him about that. He won the award one year.
We're in the first inning, game number 2 of the World Series. Rudi looks at a fastball strike, and that one had a little more on it. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. You'll notice Rudi getting ready to get into the batter's box. He's one of the slower batters around and getting ready. But when he gets in there, he's really ready. Fly ball to left field, hit pretty well, and it is lost in the sunshine.
There's that Sunfield again. That ball landed at the base of the fence. Should have been caught. Leon Jones lost the ball in a murderous Sunfield here in left field.
Jones completely losing the ball. He misjudged it at first. He went all the way back to the wall bracing. He thought it was hit more deeply than it really was. He did it in yesterday's ball game, but did make a catch at the last. There you saw him flare away from the ball with that sun flickering off his glasses. Rudi's on second base in scoring position.
The A's felt very strongly that they're playing games against Baltimore in the daytime here were going to be a big factor for them because this is a tough Sunfield. Here's Sal Bando, the A's captain who drove in 98 runs this season. Drive right center field. There's nobody out there. It goes by high. Rudi scored. Bando going to third. He's in there with a triple. Said this crowd wasn't enthusiastic, but if they were listening right now, they couldn't hear anything within 10 miles of here except this.
They've come to life today, and a better crowd than yesterday. We understand hundreds of people were turned away yesterday. Something about the ticket window. They might have had a sellout. We have just a few empty seats here today.
Reggie Jackson will bat now with a runner at third base and 1 out. Sal Bando hits a lot into right center field during the course of the year, and it was really a little surprising to see them playing him to pull that much. And he hit it right out there, Jackson. And they've got their infield in. Trailing 1-0 in the first inning, Reggie Jackson, who led the league in RBIs with 117 and homers with 32. He also led the American League in runs scored and had a good average of 293, and 12 of Reggie's 32 home runs were hit off left-hand pitching. Strike call, it's 1-1. And the Mets show that they really feel this is going to be a low-scoring game when they bring the infield in against Jackson this early in the game. There's a look from behind home plate on the third base side. See that infield right up in the face of Reggie Jackson.
This is a gamble.
Koosman just got away with hanging a curveball up above Reggie's head. Jackson fouls it off down the right field line, and I would imagine when Jerry threw that one, he wanted it back.
Bring that infield in the early innings. They slap one through. You have the making of a big inning.
They don't want to give up any runs. Reggie foul-tipped the ball and is still alive at a ball and 2 strikes, and the ball came back and hit Rudi somewhere.
Sinker ball that Koosman threw, and that's the one you get in trouble with it if you're a catcher. He topped it, appeared to have hit him on the thigh. All the players wear protective devices. Cups, they're called. Rudi takes a lot of the beating for those foul tips.
Ever see it? Ever see an old catcher's hands and gnarled fingers?
Apparently he's all right. Let's look at it again. A ball that Koosman tried to sink in on the fist, I believe, of Reggie Jackson. He just topped it. Ow, right in the protective cup.
So Reggie Jackson is up with a count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. See if Koosman will challenge him here or try to waste one and get Reggie to chase a bad pitch. He went right after him on that pitch. He struck him out with a high hard one to the inside. Baltimore pitched Jackson up there a lot in the series. There was a big out because now it'll take a hit or an error, a wild pitch or something like that, but basically a hit to get that runner in from third base, whereas Jackson could have done it with a fly ball. Gene Tenace comes up now for Oakland. He hit 24 home runs this year. Played in every game Oakland had except 2, 160 of 162.
Even with 2 outs, Wayne Garrett, the third baseman, not playing real deep at his position at third base. In the event that Tenace, and I don't know if he's done it during the season, Monty, has he ever laid down a bunt in this situation? I know he doesn't have good speed.
He's never bunted that I know of except in a sacrifice. Bando down the line trying to draw a balk, and the A's scored a lot of runs that way this year, particularly with a pitcher who starts his motion as Koosman is with his hand in the glove. Tenace takes a letter-high fastball, strike called. Many times a pitcher will be disconcerted by that runner coming down the line. If he has his hand in the glove, it's easy to balk out of that motion, and the A's have gotten a lot of cheap runs that way. Koosman's going at the A's with hard stuff. It's 1 ball, 1 strike to Gene Tenace.
You got to step off the rubber before you break those hands apart, Monty.
Almost any kind of a move with the hands or shoulders on that rubber is a balk. It's outside, ball 2.
The A's are wondering when Jackson and Tenace are going to break through. They have not had an RBI in 6 consecutive games in the playoffs in the World Series. They're number 4 and 5 in the lineup.
Koosman showing his foot action. There's a slider wrapped right around his wrist. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count with 2 down. The Mets give Tenace the same hole in right center they gave Bando. Jerry wants the sign over again. Fouled it off. You'll notice Oakland pitchers in this situation don't take their sign with their pitching hand on the ball in front of them as Koosman does. They're mostly coached to take the sign with the ball and the pitching hand in separate ways. Staying inside the Tenace, it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sal Bando at third. The A's lead 1-0 first inning. Missed inside. Looks like he threw a slider then on 3-2. That brings up Jesus Alou. Picked up on the same day in August as Vic Davalillo was from National League clubs by A's owner Charlie Finley to shore up a bench, and those 2 men have been of immeasurable help. As you can see, Alou has hit well for Oakland, .306, and he had big hits in the Baltimore series just completed. Felipe Alou was the first of the Alou brothers to play with Oakland. He was here 2 years ago, and then last year Matty, and this year Jesus. Base hit down into the corner, and Bando scores. Gene Tenace rounding third, and he's going to be stopped. It is 2-0 Oakland. Jesus Alou ripped one right inside the bag.
What we've seen him in the playoffs yesterday and today, he is really swinging a groove bat right now. He's hot.
Jesus Alou, one of the best first ball hitters I know of. Anything around the place, he's at it. Let's look at Wayne Garrett again on the replay. He was playing not a deep third base, almost even with a bag. Ball it very sharply, driving in a run.
If the Mets left-hand pitchers continue throwing Oakland batters inside as they did yesterday, and right there, Garrett may be having to get a little closer to that foul line. Kenny Holtzman hit one right by him on the right side yesterday.
That's Ray Sadecki warming up now in the Met bullpen. The veteran Ray Sadecki.
Yogi Berra looks out of the Met dugout. Dick Williams studying the scene from the Oakland A's dugout. That's Bert Campaneris in the picture with Dick. Ray Fosse, who did an outstanding job for Oakland this year. We're coming to them in spring training in a trade with the Cleveland Indians. That's a ball. A hit here could pick up 2 more runs. The Met outfielders are playing deep for Fosse. That's Alou, who's never still, no matter where he is. The batter's box on the bases, always doing calisthenics. Tenace down that line at third, as you can see. Wow, that pitch just missed inside. They had started Fosse off outside with a running fastball, and then he brought the fast one right back in on him. It's 2-0 now. They're going to walk him with Dick Green coming up. They're going to go ahead and walk Fosse and pitch to Dick Green.
The way Koosman's been pitching might be a little bit dangerous. He has not been getting ahead of the hitters in this inning.
Dick Green will come to the plate with the bases loaded, and in his major league career, Dick Green has hit 4 Grand Slam home runs. He had one this year to win a game against the California Angels.
He didn't have to get a hit yesterday. Played a brilliant defensive game for the A's.
Jackpot is loaded here for Dick Green of Rapid City, South Dakota. He looks at a letter-high fastball, strike 1.
Retired once, didn't he, Monty?
Yes, he did. He's retired once and threatened too many times. He had a year or two when he did not hit well and did not get to play regularly. And last year, as a matter of fact, he had a back operation, a disc removed early in the season, and came back and played in the World Series for Oakland. He's had a super year this year. Fouled it away, and Koosman is ahead of him at 0 balls, 2 strikes. The Mets are not playing the batters percentage here necessarily because the hitters, as you look at the bases, which are full of Oakland A's, the 2 hitters, Fosse and Green, have about the same averages in RBIs. They just want to try to have a force play anywhere. Struck him out on a good hammer, up and in. And the Oakland A's scored 2 runs in the first inning on 3 hits and leave 3 on to score. 2-0 Oakland.
There's the commissioner's box. Henry Aaron back again today, seated alongside Commissioner Kuhn. Right back of Henry Aaron's the sports director, vice president of Sports, Carl Lindemann, with the dark glasses on, and Mrs. Kuhn watching the game. Buffalo beat Baltimore today in the NFL 31-13. The Jets 9, New England 7, Cincinnati 19, Pittsburgh 7. Atlanta finally coming through 46-6 over the Bears. The Redskins defeated the New York Giants 21-3. New Orleans 20, Detroit 13. All finals, Monty.
Here's Cleon Jones. And he hits the ball deep to right field. Jesus Alou is back, and he can't get it. That was right out of here. Cleon Jones hit one right down the line in right field with good power on it, and it's a 2-1 ball game. The high fastball to the outside, and all A's scouting reports have talked about his power the opposite way.
Jones is going to be a problem for the A's, evidently. Yesterday, he had a double and a single.
Here's John Milner. Ground ball hit sharply to Dick Green. And there's one away.
Monty, his Vida's pitching pattern this year been what we saw of him in that championship series. He had great stuff for 6 innings, and he came out in the, I guess it was the 6th, and he just lost it. Does he have his ups and downs that way?
No, as a matter of fact, he's been having very good staying power, Tony, and he has pitched a lot differently, though. He went after Baltimore those first 6 innings with almost exclusively fastballs, and a lot this year he has gone to the breaking ball, a lot more than ever before. But that day, he just went back and with everything he had through every pitch. Here's Jerry Grody. The looper out behind Dick Green. Turns around. He's in the right spot to watch it come down. He picks it off through 2 away. Vida finished the season by winning his last 5 regular season games, and in 4 of those 5 did not allow a run.
The Mets here in the 2nd are going after that first pitch. 3 batters in a row have swung at the first pitch.
Here's Don Hahn playing center field today. Trying to hit him right on the fist, broke a bat. Gene Tenace will take it himself. So it's after Jones homer, 3 in a row go up and down, and the score is the Oakland A's 2, the New York Mets 1.
Well, we'll have Game 3 of the World Series Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. Tom Seaver against Jim Hunter. Wednesday night, Thursday if necessary, 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on NBC, the baseball world with Joe Garagiola, and then the World Series game. Vida Blue getting a hand as he opens it up for the A's in the last of the 2nd.
This will be Vida Blue's 2nd at-bat of 1973. His lifetime average in the American League is .098. Strike call. Averages like that by pitchers, one reason the designated hitter rule was instituted, and with great success this year in the American League as far as livening up the offense. Strike 2 to Vida. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. Vida down on a breaking ball. He got 3 looks at Kuzman, and there's 1 away in inning number 2. Back to the top of the batting order for Bert Campaneris. Kuzman now has struck out 3 Oakland A's, and the biggest strikeout he had was a survival strikeout, you might say. With the bases loaded, he got Dick Green to end the 1st inning. They play Campy tight at the corners. At 3rd and 1st, they are both in on the grass. Ball 1. Campaneris bunts for base hits once in a while, and ordinarily it's the first base side when he does. He had a good cut at that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think his play yesterday of bunting the ball down the first base line and sliding under the first baseman, trying to put a tag on him 20 feet away from the bag and getting up and going on, was one of the most exciting plays of the day. Strike call. Rudi wants this pitch inside. Campy fouls it away into the seats over behind the Mets dugout.
That bunt he beat out yesterday. He's now had a hit 5 playoff games in a row, the opening game of the World Series, a 6-game batting streak in World Series and playoff action.
It's a 2-1 game. Oakland is leading right here. Drive in the right center field. Rusty Staub is not going to be able to get to it. Watch Campaneris go. He can really motor. He's already around second. And he's in at third base, standing up with a triple.
And you may have noticed on the play that Rusty Staub gave way to his center fielder, Don Hahn, to make the long throw to the cutoff man. Watch Burt again on this replay on the triple to right center field, and watch him cut the bases. Looking over his shoulder, not relying on a coach at all. That's what the great base runners do. They need no help.
Boy, he takes those little short, choppy steps.
I believe we're going to get action again in the Met bullpen. Ray Sadecki, warming up earlier, has just moved to the mound once more.
And once again, the Mets bring their infield in with 1 out and a strong hitter at the plate in Joe Rudi. Rudi hit a sun-fly double in the first inning that fell just out of the sight of Jones in left field. That opened the gates for a 2-run inning. Kuzman went after him with a slider high and inside.
A's are going for the extra base hits today, Monty. They've now had 2 triples, 2 doubles.
And 2 of the triples were in the same area, right center field. Kuzman is pitching off the stretch here to keep Campaneris as close as he can. He has his infield in. Misses inside. It's 1-1, and you notice the scouting reports really come into effect in these clutch situations. Twice he's gone at Rudi here with inside pitches. Campaneris down off third. That's Irv Noren, the coach, very close to him. And from the left field foul line, you look right down towards home plate. Ooh, Kuzman threw a high outside fastball, and Rudi jumped after it. Jerry Kuzman ahead of the batter at a ball and 2 strikes. Base hit right up the middle, and that's with the infield drawn in. A base hit. It would not have been otherwise. And the A's now have a chance to do some more damage. It is 3-1 Oakland on Joe Rudi's second base hit of the day.
There's an old saying in baseball, when you draw the infield in, a 300 hitter can become a 400 hitter. Those infielders don't have the time to range to their left or right. You slap a ground ball, it goes through.
I think it's a total respect these 2 managers have for the others' pitching staffs that would cause them to do that this early. Here's Sal Bando. Inside to Bando, ball 1. Joe Rudi and Sal Bando carried the A's offensively the last 2-3 weeks of the season. Reggie Jackson slumping and injured, and Darren Johnson, the designated hitter who had the big year, really having a terrible slump after getting a bone chip in his thumb. Count 2 balls, no strikes. There's Reggie Jackson on deck. That propeller-like affair on the end of the bat, a wind resistor. Change-up. Bando, ordinarily a very good off-speed pitch hitter, was right on that pitch and missed it.
They changed up on him yesterday a few times, too, Monty. There's Williams.
And the other side of the coin, Yogi Berra looks on. He did it again. 3 balls and a strike to Sal Bando. Tough hitter to get behind. Bando, a product of that great baseball school, Arizona State University. They produced 4 of the Oakland A's. Reggie Jackson and Sal Bando and Rick Monday. There goes Rudi, and the pitch is missed. They ought to get him at second. Great throw by Gowdy to Millan as Bando missed on a hit-and-run play.
Watch Joe Rudi all alone on the 3-1 pitch. Bando may have given him a signal as he looks over his shoulder to make sure that Bando did not pop the ball up or hit it in foul territory. From another angle, Rudi coming in, being tagged by Felix Millan, and we told you we were going to see some good catching. We have so far in this series.
Gary Koosman just wraps a hard slider around Sal Bando at the knees, and the A's get 1 run in the second inning on 2 hits. Nobody left to score. 3-1 Oakland. Bud Harrelson, the Mets shortstop, against Vida Blue, and the first pitch from Vida in the third inning is outside for ball 1. Harrelson chokes up on the bat, and it looks as if to make sure that he does that, he has a rubber donut up the handle a little ways. Vida missed inside. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
Keeps that bat from sliding down, or his hands from sliding down on the bat.
Well, these players create ways to get a good grip. Bud does not use a glove, a batting glove. He was taking all the way. He's holding the bat up around the brand on that one. Looks as if he doesn't use any pine tar on the bat either. Harrelson, after a low inside Vida Blue fastball, fouled it off. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The score here is Oakland 3 and New York 1 in Game 2, the 1973 World Series. Well, that one took off. Ball 3. On deck, the Met pitcher Koosman. Sadecki has come down into the Mets dugout with a jacket on. Whether they would pinch hit for Koosman here might depend upon what Harrelson does. Strike 3 called. Vida hit the outside corner with a fastball.
Monty, Curt, before the ballgame, we talked to A's catcher Ray Fosse, talking about the pitching style of Vida Blue. Let's listen.
Tony, Vida is a fastball pitcher. He's come up with a good breaking ball to go along with his fastball and changeup. So you can look mainly just to see the good smoke, the good fastball, and hopefully he can keep the ball down.
Now the Mets pitcher, Jerry Koosman. Lifetime National League batting average, 0.88, about the same as Vida's. He's hit 1 home run in his career, and so has Vida. And Koosman fouls off the first pitch at strike 1. We've had a sort of a phrase coined around Oakland the last couple of years. The A's don't win them easy, and the A's don't lose them easy. And in 7 of the last 8 World Series games in which the A's have played, the game has been decided by 1 run. It's fairly typical of the season Oakland had. Bando cuts in front of Campaneris with a lot of time. He throws him out. The only game that Oakland has played in the World Series the last 2 years that was not decided by 1 run was game number 6 last year, and Cincinnati clobbered Oakland 8-1. Many felt that that game in Cincinnati would completely demoralize the A's, but they showed a great ability to come back as they did in game 5 of the playoffs last year, game 5 of the playoffs this year. Leadoff man Wayne Garrett takes a strike. Millan on deck. And Vida Blue, very intense young man today before this game. There's his slurve. That's the pitch that he calls a slurve. It's between a slider and a curve, just a hard curveball is what it is, and that's the big thing they tried to get him to do, Tony.
This is the pitch that Johnny Sain, one of the top pitching coaches in baseball, teaches over in the American League. He calls it a fast curve. Breaks more than a slider, not as much as a curve, a little bit downward action.
Pitch outside. Vida's curveball that he threw last year was one that was just thrown too slow. It gave the batter too much time to adjust and hit it. So Wes Stock, the A's pitching coach, got him to increase the tempo a little bit. There's a long drive to right field. That was a hanging breaking ball, and it is way out of here. Garrett puts a run up on the board for the Mets with a long home run.
And Garrett finally broke out of it. He hit 16 home runs during the season. He's a real threat for an infielder. That's his first homer in the playoffs of World Series, and just his second RBI.
Watch Garrett swing once again. He appears to have opened up his stance a little bit more today than yesterday. That right foot off the ground timing the pitch, and he sure did hang it inside about belt high. He's not a big man, but he's got good, compact, powerful swing.
Blue made that mistake against Etchebarren. Home runs are hurting him.
He had just made a tremendous pitch to Garrett. The pitch before out away from him. Here's Beyond taking a strike on the knees. So it's a 3-2 ball game.
Remember Fosse's interview Tony had with him? He said, hopefully you'll keep the ball down.
Little number foul. Pitcher's trying to make 2 good pitches in a row. You know, Violet didn't try to hang that ball in there. He had just made a super pitch and really made Garrett look pretty bad. Ball really carries down the line here at the Coliseum in day games, and what little wind there is blowing towards right, that needed no help at all. That would have gone out against the wind. Pando right near the bag at third. Goes to Tenace, and that's all for the Mets here in the third. They got another run, and in the middle of the third inning, the score is the Oakland A's 3, the New York Mets 2.
With Reggie Jackson leading off for the A's, let's listen to his comments about his late season slump.
Well, Tony, you know, I haven't been hitting, and the thing you want to do if you're playing on a winning ball club is be a part of it. And if you're not hitting the ball that well, then you've got to either run the bases well or throw well or make a catch or do something to help the ball club.
Jerry Kuzman just said hello, Reggie, with a duster right under his chin.
Reggie made that catch yesterday in the ball game that he mentioned. He was a little bit modest. It was a game-saving catch, I think, in left center field.
It's part of the Dick Williams philosophy that Dick was able to impart to Reggie Jackson when he came here as manager 3 years ago. He said, look, Reggie, there are going to be days when you don't hit the ball. You're going to strike out a lot, but you have abilities to do a lot of other things to help the club. Strike call, it is 1-1. Mets have hit 2 home runs here today. Cleon Jones and Wayne Garrett, and Jackson just had his home run cut right then. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's hit 2 of the longest home runs I've ever seen. Tony and I saw him hit that 500-foot shot, Minneapolis, the top of the scoreboard, and then the home run up on the roof, the light girders in Detroit in the All-Star game. 2 of the longest I've ever seen.
Harrelson playing him perfectly. He gets it right behind the bag at second and throws Reggie Jackson out. Reggie has, of course, the tape measure distance record for home runs here in this ballpark. The longest one he ever hit landed in the right field bleachers on the very top row. It was a night where that row was not filled, and it hit right on the seat, the back row of the bleachers. Here's Gene Tenace. Curve is high. There have been only 4 balls hit into the second deck at this ballpark, and Reggie Jackson has hit 2 of those. Dick Green 1, and Bobby Darwin of Minnesota the other. Of course, Greens and Darwins went to left in the second deck. Slow curve drops in there. It's a strike call, 1-1. Last year at this time, Gene Tenace, the toast to the nation with his 2 home runs the first 2 times up against the Cincinnati Reds. You know, Curt, he's been a very valuable man to the A's. Let's take a look at this.
Take a look from that handheld camera behind left fielder Cleon Jones. Some of the problems with his son. He's had trouble with a couple of balls. Rudi did one yesterday. You can try, if you have time, to surround the ball, get an angle away from the sun, or as I think he's doing now, he's playing a little bit out of position, trying to run away from the sun or look away from the sun.
Count runs to 3 balls, 2 strikes on Gene Tenace, who got a walk in the first inning. That's the shot from left field to give you an idea of the haze, and it is a hazy day here. Ball 4. Gene Tenace, who led the A's in receiving bases on balls for the season with 101, has just walked for the 2nd time today.
I had 10 Californians tell me today it's a haze, not a smog.
In Northern California, that's right. Northern Californians call it a haze. They call that one in Los Angeles the smog. a group of hills right behind this ballpark called the Oakland Hills, and ordinarily they're very, very visible, but today they're almost obliterated. Jesus Salou. Ordinarily, you could see the hills. You can see the houses up on the hills out there. Ordinarily, it's a beautiful sight from the ballpark. Today, it's out of sight. Pick off a tip. They almost got Tenace leaning the wrong way. Ray Sadecki is throwing again in the Met bullpen. Score 3-2, Oakland leading.
There he goes with that bat again.
He drops the bat behind him. He'll flip it sometimes and catch it.
What did he do one game in the championship series? It looked like he pulled a little flag out of his pocket and dusted the plate off to distract the pitcher.
Voodoo, I think.
Yeah.
Base hit, right field. Rusty stopped with the ball, and he just flips it back in there, but he got it in a hurry.
And he charged that ball to be sure to take it on the first hop to save time with his sore shoulder. He normally might have let that ball come to him on the second hop.
Watch Lou in his batting style. He jumps on many pitches, and look at that left front foot as he kicks it in the strike zone. He's got a magic wand. They should nickname him Mandrake, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you, he had his head down on that ball, Tony. He really took a good swing, powerful. In some areas, they might call what he does hot dog. In Oakland, we call it color.
He's a good hitter.
Well, the A's getting valuable help going to the other league last year for Matty Louis' brother. This year for Davalillo and for Jesus. Picking up veteran players to help in the stretch and paying quite a bit of money for them.
Here's Ray Fosse. Fosse walked his first time up intentionally. The A's have had something going in every inning so far off Kuzman. They have 6 hits. Check swing bouncer. Back to Kuzman. They go to second, and a bad throw pulls him off the bag.
Kuzman never had complete possession of the ball. Pitchers wear bigger gloves so they can hide the ball from the hitters and those coaches, and many times they have trouble getting the ball out of the glove. Watch it again. Fosse distracted by Mian on the pitch before that. Now let's look at it. Little chopper. He made a good pitch down low in the strikes, and watch him bobble it. Doesn't have possession. The ball moves away from Mian, and now they're in trouble. Here it is again.
That's like a basketball player, Tony, trying to shoot without really good control of the ball.
Curtis Felix may have saved a run on that play. Had that ball gone into center field, it could have been first and third or second and third and another run home.
See what Berra's going to do now. He's bringing Sadecki on. That's all for Kuzman. I think Berra also had the thinking that that wide throw might upset Kuzman. So we have a break in the action here at Oakland. The score in the last of the third is Oakland 3, New York 2. More final scores from the NFL. Denver defeated Houston 48-20. New Orleans 20, the Lions 13. The Eagles 27, the Cardinals 24. Green Bay and Kansas City played to a 10-10 tie. And now back to action here. World Series game number 2, Ray Sadecki.
Sadecki pitching to Dick Green for the second time in the game. Green is batting with the bases loaded. Sadecki's slow curveball is inside. Sadecki is pitching in his 3rd World Series game. He started twice for St. Louis in the 1964 series, winning one of those games. This year for the Mets, he won 5 and lost 4, had 1 save. He appeared in 31 games. Mets have their corners first and third base in. The rest of the infield's back in double play depth. Threw that one by him. Had him pretty well set up for the fastball. He had thrown a slow curve inside, missing. Ball 1.
The Mets have Harry Parker now warming up in their bullpen, Monty, a right-hander. Harry Parker.
They're at the bottom part of the A's batting order, so this is a big out right here. If he can get Dick Green without a run scoring, he'll pitch to Vida Blue. Squeeze play is on, and Green misses the bunt on a curve, and Tenace is hung up. Garrett drops the ball. Now the other runners are able to move up to second and third base.
Guy Milner made the tag. Came in from first, Milner.
And if not for the dropping of the ball, there would have been just 1 minute in scoring position. Let's watch it again. A breaking ball down and in that Green could not get his bat on. Tenace hung up. Now watch this. Just by dropping the ball here at third base, Wayne Garrett allows the Lou to go into third. Fosse to go into second. He did his job staying in a rundown long enough to advance those runners.
And now Yogi's got a decision to make whether to pitch to Dick Green with a 1-2 count or walk him and pitch to Vida Blue for that third out.
The A's have had a hit-and-run backfire on them and now a squeeze backfire. 2 men have been cut down.
He's going to pitch to him. Carefully, I hope.
Got a count of 1-2 on him. Ooh, strike 3 call. Dick Green is out on a curveball. I'm not sure whether they call it a swing or a take, but anyway, he's out. So in the third inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 men left, and the score after 3 innings is 3-2 Oakland. Top half of the 4th inning coming up, and Curt, that could very well have been a big turnaround inning for the New York Mets to survive a crisis like that.
They've only had 2 hits, but 2 home runs. They were faced with that base-loaded situation, 1 out. The squeeze backfired, so the Mets stay close. Very big defensive inning for them.
Rusty Staub will lead off against Vida Blue. Vida's thrown home runs to Cleon Jones and Wayne Garrett. Kuzman pitches 2 1/3 innings today, charged with 3 runs and 6 hits. Vida's first pitch is away from Rusty Staub for ball 1. Strike call. Boy, this game has some action in it today. Action by the managers, by the hitters. Fastball too high.
You know, he's been around, Staub, at Houston and Montreal with the Mets. This is his first playoff and first World Series. That he feels like a young kid here. He's so thrilled to be participating finally in postseason.
Fly ball to left field. Joe Rudi is chasing it down, and he has sunshade zeroed in. He's looking away from the sun a little bit there, but it still is a glare.
I don't know if you could see him hold up right at the second and not get completely under it. He wanted to retain that angle, looking away from the sun. So he timed the catch. Watch him again and see if we can pick it up. The sun glaring in his glasses. Now he wants to stay at that angle and not face directly into the sun. There he goes after it. What a battle.
Tony, remember the difficulty Norm Seaburn had in left field on the club you played in the World Series?
Oh, I sure do.
You think this left field is worse than Yankee Stadium?
Never played this left field. If this is worse, it's awful.
Cleon Jones, who hit a home run off Vida down the right field line his first time up, gets a fastball up and in on him that time, and he missed it.
You don't have the shadows here if you had a Yankee Stadium.
Pitch a little high, 1 ball, 1 strike. The score 3-2. The A's over the New York Mets. Oakland won yesterday's ball game 2-1. Series moves back to Shea Stadium in New York on Tuesday night. Driving to left center. Reggie Jackson over and in and traps the ball. Jones will hold up at first base. Jackson playing pretty deep. And that ball was sinking going into center field.
Look at it again. Jackson circling around the ball a little bit. I don't think there's a sun problem in center field, although he has his glasses down. Now from another angle, Jackson, who played his first game this year in center field yesterday, battling it, preventing it from getting by him by staying in front. And Jones has got a pretty hot bat. This Mets team looks aggressive with the bats, Monty.
They must have been aggressive for the past month. And the A's are not that surprised. Here is Milner, their leading home run man for the year with 23. Vida starts him off with a fastball right down the chute.
Jones hit hard in the playoffs and is continuing right into the World Series.
Mets have 3 hits. Jones has 2 of them. John Milner. Foul ball. Mando made a good play on that ball and didn't take any chances. He shot it on over there. Milner really got jammed on the pitch and hit it off to the left side, and for a left-handed full hitter. It's amazing Bando got to it.
Russ Getz of the American League at third base. Bando, not being able to hear the call that it was foul, makes the play anyway.
Base umpires go into action after a ball passes the bag, first or third. Up until that time, the home plate umpire calls fair or foul. Foul ball. No balls, 2 strikes. Vida's up a little bit right now again.
Something that his catcher earlier in the ball game told us he does not want Vida to do. He wants him to keep that ball down.
He's throwing strikes. He hasn't walked anybody today. There's the curveball, and it's fouled away. And he had Milner reaching for it. He had Garrett reaching for one in the 3rd inning, but then tried another one and left it right where Garrett loved it. Gene Tenace holding against Cleon Jones at first. Drive to right field. Jesus Salou. Right there. Puts it away, and it's 2 out. You know, the Mets hit the ball hard all day yesterday, Curt, and didn't get much for it. Today, they're hitting it hard again.
Bill Rigney had a good expression. They had dumb bats.
Yeah.
Hit the ball right at somebody. But they're making contact, both clubs today, better than they did yesterday.
Joe Rudi, who just missed a 2-run home run yesterday, popped to second in the 2nd inning of this game today. It's 3-2, Oakland over New York. 4th inning. Jones bluffing a start off first, didn't go anywhere. Vida misses low, ball 1. Cleon Jones stole 1 base this year.
Mets just don't run much. They don't have outstanding team speed. They'll put the hit and run on.
Garrett led the Mets in steals with 6. Vida's 2-0 on Grody now, and he doesn't like to be behind a hitter with this kind of power.
Campanella stole more bases than the entire Met team.
Reggie Jackson has been playing short in center field and over toward right center. I'm wondering now, with the 2-ball, no-strike count, he's going to shade a little bit more toward left center. That pitcher gets behind the hitter. The hitter looks for that pitch inside, tries to pull the ball more.
Pull that one. Bando can't come up with the ball. No play anywhere. A short hopper to Sal Bando going to his left.
Watch Sal again, usually very reliable on balls such as this. Hits a short hop, which is not a difficult hop to catch. Couldn't smother it, though, and the ball bounds away.
This is the first real bad fielding play the A's have made. Except a high throw from Jackson that missed the cutoff man. But I mean, handling the ball.
Here's Don Hahn, the center fielder, with 2 runners on. Ball 1. Ray Fosse holding the ball up, and what he's doing is signaling to Vida that he's dropping down a little bit. Get back up on top. When Vida comes sidearm, the ball tends to flatten out. When he stays on top, it really moves. Sliced off foul.
Fosse does a good job handling these pitchers, Monty, doesn't he?
He does, and he's had a hard time early in the season, Curt, because he had never really called very many pitches. He said in Cleveland, when Alvin Dark was the manager, Alvin called almost all the pitches from the dugout. So he didn't really have all that much trouble. There's Mary Barry, one of the A's ball girls. But Ray came over here and was given the job of calling the pitches, and the veteran pitchers on the staff have helped him out. And he really handles them now. Drive to right field. Jesus Salou has got it. And another Met line drive is caught. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left in the score in the middle of the 4th inning, 3-2 Oakland.
We're going now into the 6th inning of the Oakland Coliseum. Staub, Jones, and Milner for the New York Mets. Staub is grounded out, fly to left. Vida Blue's gone all the way, and Rusty fouls it back. There's been a statement released to the press here. Charlie Finley, the owner of the A's, and the commissioner of baseball, Bowie Kuhn, were in a dispute over the eligibility of the A's squad. They're playing this World Series, that's strike 2, for 24 men. They had a big argument, and evidently Finley has written, or the commissioner has written a letter to Charlie Finley saying that after the World Series, disciplinary action will be taken. Commissioner Kuhn sided with the Mets on the eligibility of a 25th man. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The A's argued over a rain out here last Monday. That Joe Cronin called the game too early. It rained all afternoon. That's strike 3 on the fastball. Stop is out. And Charlie Finley, by the way, if you don't know it, we've announced it several times, is recovering from a heart attack. He's the man with a green jacket. He's not naturally as active as he was last year. He was a one-man show here, put on a great show with his rooting contingent, but he's fortunate to be here in the health he is and making his way around. 1 out, nobody on. Cleon Jones swinging the hot bat in this game. A home run to the opposite field and a single to center. He's had 4 hits in the 2 games. There's a strike to him. The 1-strike delivery, high and away. Cleon Jones is the only player now with 4 hits in this still young World Series. 1 down, nobody on. Went for the high fastball. 1 and 2. Blue is just coming with that fastball now.
Curt, I was about to say from up here, it's difficult for us to tell if he's really popping the ball, if it's moving, but he seems more aggressive and more confident at this time than any time in the game. He wants the ball back in a hurry. He wants his sign. He wants to throw. He seems much more aggressive.
He has struck out 4, walked 1, allowed 3 hits, 2 of them homers. That one just missed, and he is popping that ball. Throwing hard's one thing, but throwing a fastball that moves or does something is another. That's the tough pitch. The 2-2 delivery. That's his curveball that time. 3 and 2.
He started him off with a curve, and it was a good one, and Jones took it. And then he went with the hard stuff and back to the curve.
1 away, nobody on. The A's are leading 3-2. This is the top of the 6th inning. Rake foul. Jones was disappointing for the Mets this year in the early part of the season. Fairness to him, he had nagging injuries. But when he finally put it together those last 2 or 3 weeks, he was some ball player. He had 6 homers in the Mets' last 10 games. He drove in key runs, and he's continued right into the series. Another foul.
Curt, he's throwing good now. That last pitch was a strike, but Jones has already gone after 2 pitches that were out of the strike zone up high, so that fastball must be taking off.
Vida Blue will serve up another 3 and 2 pitch. Jones has played to the opposite field and deep. He has power to right. And Vida Blue lost him. That's the 2nd walk given up by Blue. That puts Cleon Jones at first. 1 out. John Milner up, is grounded out, flied out. And we're going to have action again in the Oakland bullpen. Darrell Knowles, the little left-hander. Horacio Pena, the right-hander. Raleigh Fingers, probably, well, who knows? He may be in there if they need him for a batter or 2.
With the day off tomorrow, Curt, you're right. He could come in.
Inside, ball 1 to Milner. 3 runs, 7 hits for Oakland. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Mets. The Mets out-hit the A's yesterday. It's the reverse this afternoon. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2. It's interesting to watch. Now, Bando, I just wanted to point something out to you. Where Bando was playing. And here's Wes Stock coming out. And suddenly the A's are disturbed. About a walk to Jones, a 2-0 count to Milner. When a fastball pitcher starts getting behind and has had only 1 walk, that walk came in the 5th, then you begin to wonder if he's not tiring. losing just a bit of an edge. Now watch Bando where he's going to play. This is a left-handed batter up, remember, Milner. You'd figure he'd be over there in the hole, but he's right a step or two off third base for a left-handed batter who's a pull hitter. Beat foul, the count 2-1. There's quite a hole in the shortstop side of the A's infield because Campaneris is over by a second. That's an odd layout on the left side of that infield. That outfield around toward right.
The last pitch might have made it 3-0. We went after a bad one. Over anxious.
There's a fly ball in the right center. That ball dropping in for a base hit. Coming on to third is Jones. He's in, and the Mets have runners on first and third, one out, as Miller dumps one into right center.
Reggie Jackson tried to decoy as if he was going to catch the ball to try and prevent that runner from going into third base, but Jones would have no part of it.
Leon Jones at third. That's his third base coach, Eddie Yost. At first base is Milner. Now the Oakland fans starting to buzz in the stands. Their team is a one-run lead, but the Mets have mounted a threat in the sixth inning. And here is Dick Williams now moving to the mound. You have Pena, the right-hander, Knowles, the left-hander in the Oakland bullpen.
That's something just about the time you say it looks like a pitcher's starting to get his stuff. What happens? It's called putting your foot in your mouth, isn't it?
Well, the thing about Vida is he can be throwing awfully hard, Tony, and it's just a matter of getting in the strike zone. He was a little wild this inning, and his trouble started with a walk the other day against Baltimore in the game where he had the 4-0 lead. He was leading 4-0, and Earl Williams was up. He walked Earl Williams, and next guy gets a hit, and here goes Vida, and in comes Pena.
Vida Blue gets a hand as it goes out, and the right-hander, Horacio Pena, comes on. And while we have the change of pitchers here, we'll tell you the score is Oakland 3 and New York 2. Horacio Pena, 28 years old, born, lives in Mexico. 6 wins, 3 losses. His earned run average impressive, 2.76. What about him, Monte Moore? You've watched him all year.
He throws a natural sinker off that sidearm delivery, and that is his big pitch. He does have a very big breaking curveball. Here is, in slow motion, his underarm delivery. He'll turn that ball over with real good speed.
Almost submarine, not quite.
You can see his right wrist roll over there. That's his natural pitch. He also throws a crazy-looking changeup, but I don't think you'll see him throw it with 2 men on base here. He wants the sinker down. He'd like to get the double play. And there's John Odom joining Darrell Knowles out in the Oakland bullpen.
All right, this is Pena's first World Series appearance. And he's facing Jerry Grody. The catcher of the Mets has popped up, reached in an error by third baseman Sal Bando. The A's are ahead 3-2. The Mets are threatening now. And he's hit by a pitch ball to load the bases. Grody's hit on the left arm.
He was hit earlier this year on the hand and had a fracture.
Didn't look like he picked that pitch up at all. He hardly moved, and it was in on him in a hurry.
Now let's see where he hit him. On the forearm.
Left wrist, left forearm. I think he was just trying to take a look. Take one pitch off Pena to see his delivery and follow the ball, and he didn't move at all. Let's look at it again. Pena coming from down under, as Monte Moore just told you. Grody going into his stride, stepping into it with that shoulder just a little bit. Hardly moved.
He hardly had time. That ball really gets moving when he throws it like that at times, and it's in on you before you have a chance to do anything.
Starts in the inside part of the strike zone. It bored in on him about, like 2 feet. Got him.
He's all right. He's going to stay in. He'll feel worse tomorrow, though, in that arm. They'll get some ice on it after the game. Keep the swelling down. And now it's Don Hahn up with the bases loaded, 1 out.
Augie is showing
the
home plate umpire, Augie Donatelli, where the ball hit him. No argument there, Augie says, did not hit your bat.
That's one time they didn't point to the shoe polish. Bases loaded. The A's bring the infield in. One out for the Mets. Hahn is grounded out, line to right. Hahn hits a little roller. This will be a tough play. They can't make it. The game's tied. Bando couldn't get to it. Pena ran right by the ball. And it's a tie game. This is Jones.
Let's look at it again. A little topper. Pena was pitching from the stretch. Bando had just one chance to barehand it. Here it is again. Let's watch Sal. Dick Williams came out right after the completion of this play and said to Sal, did you touch that ball or not? If you did not, it is a foul ball. Bando said to him, we have no argument. I touched the ball. It's a fair ball.
You can see it very obviously there in the replay. It's skidded out of his hands. Don Hahn is given a base hit and an RBI. Left-hander is starting to warm up. Tug McGraw in the Met bullpen. The Mets still have the bases loaded, one down. They tied the game at 3-all. And Bud Harrelson's the batter. He struck out, flied out. And the A's have the infield in once more. The lead runner now is Milner at third. There's a foul back out of play. Brody's at second, and Hahn's at first. So they haven't had the ball by 90 feet and two batters against Pena, but they scored.
Kind of evens up for all those line drives, Curt, they've hit in this series, and they say it all evens up.
It does. It always has a way of doing it. 3-3 game now in the sixth inning. Mets with a bases loaded, one out. Ball, 1-1 to Bud Harrelson. Harrelson has played shallow in that outfield and over to left. Joe Rudi is really crowding that left field line. Harry Parker, the Met pitcher, on deck. We'll see what Harrelson does. That probably will dictate Berra's decision. And he's got a base hit into right field. Coming in to score is Milner. Rudi is held at third, and the Mets take the lead for the first time, 4-3. Harrelson spikes the single to right, scoring Milner. Both those runs are charged to Vida Blue. And the Mets still have the bases loaded. And now Harry Parker is being called back. The Mets have their ace warming up, McGraw. Berra wants more runs. So Parker's coming back. And let's see who comes out now. Garrett, he's on deck. He won't be the batter. We're waiting for the pinch hitter. They like Boswell against the right-hander.
He has Hodges left-handed, Cranepool left-handed, Boswell, but he does not want to waste his best left-handed pinch hitter because he does have a one-run lead. What might happen if he put up Boswell, they'd bring in Knowles, they'd have to put up a right-hander. Yogi would use his best pinch hitter.
Like Cranepool's getting a bat.
Right, that's Eddie.
All right, Ed Cranepool will come up to bat for Harry Parker. So that leaves the Mets with Hodges and Boswell left-handed pinch hitters. Dyer, Beecham, Mays, and Martinez is right-handed pinch hitter. Martinez was a switch hitter until August, late August, and he quit and went right-handed. Cranepool, .239 batter this year, with one homer, 35 RBIs.
See now if Williams makes the move. Yes, he is. As soon as that hitter Cranepool was announced, put officially in the ballgame, Williams is coming out. He's signaling for Knowles. Now we may see who? Willie Mays?
Well, we could. They have Beecham. They have Dyer. The wheels are turning, and another break in the action here at Oakland with a score. The New York Mets 4 and the Oakland A's 3. All right, the Mets now have switched. They Derek Cranepool, he's out of the game. He was announced as a pinch hitter. He's now being removed. Cranepool was hitting for the pitcher, Parker, and now Jim Beecham is going to bat for Cranepool to get the right-hander in. The bases are loaded, one out. The Mets have scored 2 runs, and they have the lead. Now watch for some kind of trickery here on a pickoff somewhere. There's a foul ball back. The A's like to pull trick plays. They could put a count on with Tenace sneaking in behind at first base, or the count and Knowles whirling and trying to pick off at second. Maybe they won't do it, but you have to be alert.
the Mets have two different coaches have worn Hahn at second base. They've had a scout following the A's, Fondy, for about a month and a half, and he's seen it.
Knowles came in yesterday. There's a bouncing ball to the box. Threw it away! He threw it away. One run is in, and another run scores. He had the double play. He lost his footing. He let the ball go without the proper footing or balance and threw it away. A perfect double play ball to him.
Curtis, the excitement of World Series play. Knowles trying to make the play quicker than he had to. He had a sure, easy double play home to first base. His cleats got tangled up. He toppled over and threw it wildly.
And the Mets have come up with 4 runs in the 6th inning. Here it is.
Look at it again. Hot smash off the bat of Jim. Beats him right to Knowles. Fosse will get ready for the play at the plate. There he goes, losing his footing, tripping, throwing wildly. And the Mets may just have broken the ball game wide open.
What a costly error that was. 2 runs in, moving on to 2nd and 3rd. There's a drive down the left field line. That's twisting foul into the A's bullpen. The batter's Wayne Garrett, who likes to hit that first pitch. And now you have Harrelson over at 3rd. Beecham went all the way to 2nd on the wild throw, and he had wrapped into what looked like almost certainly the inning-ending double play. It is now 6-3, the Mets leading. Outside. Yesterday they blew the ball game in an error, and today the A's are making the costly mistakes. Harrelson, the lead runner, Beecham at 2nd. Those runs are charged to Pena. 2 of the runs have been charged to Vida Blue. Rudi and Hahn's runs have been charged to Pena. Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Garrett is the 8th batter up for the Mets. They still have only 1 out. Oh, they're in a great shape right now to do something. And Garrett looks at that fastball on the outside corner. Struck him out, and a big out for Darrell Knowles and the A's. Felix Millan has struck out, grounded out, hit into a force play. Rusty Staub is on deck, the left-hander. Millan, very difficult man to strike out. Darrell Knowles, 6 wins, 8 losses this year, 9 saves, lives in Blue Springs, Missouri, 31 years old. Tug McGraw is walking in now from the bullpen to the Met dugout. They'll come on to pitch in the last of the 6th inning. Millan takes ball 1. The 9th man up for the Mets in the top of the 6th. Harrelson at 3rd, Beecham at 2nd. Fastball is away from him. 2-0. John Odom continues to loosen up in the A's bullpen. Two balls and no strikes. Check swing for ball 3. 3-0.
I saw Fosse point to first base as this pitching series started, and now he's going to go ahead and walk him. He had told Darrell, I think, use your head now. Don't throw a tough pitch here to him.
They're letting Staub come onto the plate. The injured Rusty Staub. The Mets have batted around in the 6th inning. Staub is now the 10th man up. He's grounded out, flied out, and struck out. 4 runs in for New York. They're leading Oakland 6-3. And here's the RBI leader for the season, Rusty Staub. Harrelson's at 3rd. Beecham's at 2nd. Pitch is high for a ball. Millan's at 1st. 1 ball, no strikes. He's outside. Knowles having trouble finding the plate. 2-0.
Curt, in the last couple of years, 4 times he's, with the bases loaded, walked in a winning run of a ball game. He has a tough time pitching with the bases loaded, throwing the ball because he's a nibbler up there.
Well, that's his situation right now. He has the bases loaded. And he's in with a strike. 2-1 to Rusty Staub. Rusty says, well, it's going to happen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fouls it back, 2-2 count. Rusty's changed gloves from last time up. He had a yellow and a blue. He's what we call in the NBC booth a glove changer. He always wears golf gloves in both hands. 2-2. Bases loaded. And he hits a fly ball into right center. Over for it, and making the grab is Reggie Jackson to retire the side. 4 runs in, though, and the Mets lead now 6-3. Bert Campaneris has tripled in 3 times. We're at the top of the A's batting order. They shorten up at first and third, and McGraw slips the strike across. Mets leading 6-3. Strike 2, 0-2. John Odom will warm up again in the A's bullpen. Oh, hit out. There goes his helmet. He's hit on the head to the back of the neck.
You may see it again on the replay. That's Joe Romo, the A's trainer. It appears that the ball hit the helmet. The helmet had not yet fallen off Bert's head.
How many times have you and I seen players saved from serious injury by the batting helmets now?
I couldn't count them, Curtis. I know Monty has too many times. He appears to be shook up. Williams wants to make sure. No ball, 2 strike count. Bert trying to get his left arm in the way of his head. And Monty, I don't know for sure, but I think that helmet had flipped off his head and caught him a grazing blow on the side. Here's the pitch, a fastball from McGraw. He throws inside on occasion. Right off the top of the helmet, fortunately.
It hit his helmet. He's on first. Hit by the pitch ball, 1 out. And Joe Rudi up, has doubled, singled, bounced to the pitcher. Rudy's driven in a run. Our score, Game 2 of the World Series, 73, 6-3, the New York Mets. Last of the 7th. Crowd yelling, go, 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 but the A's can't afford to be gambling here. 3 runs back. Whereas Campaneris just thinks he's got a lock at stealing a base. Ball 1 to Joe Rudi. Sal Bando's on deck. For McGraw has 2 rough right-handers he has to face.
Curtis, Bert Campaneris is just the type of emotional player as we saw last year in the championship series against Detroit. Even 3 runs down, he's liable to go for second base.
1 ball, no strikes. A check swing by Rudi. It's ball 2, 2-0. Dick Williams. McGraw behind Rudi. 2 balls and no strikes. Rudy's being played straight away and deep, way deep in the Mets outfield. 3-0. Look how deep the outfield's going to be playing Rudi. They're just 3 or 4 steps in front of the warning path, Monty.
Baltimore had the same kind of setup against Oakland. They had their outfielders very, very deep against several of the players, including Campaneris.
Well, they don't want a ball to get over them now. They'd rather have one drop in front of them.
George Stone now starting to throw for the Mets.
Ball 4. Williams hopes his man can come through. Campaneris at second, Rudi at first, 1 out. Handle the batter. A triple and 3 times up today. Ball 1 by Tug McGraw. I think he's trying to turn that ball over on him, and his screwball's not working right for him. 1 ball, no strike. He likes to feed the right-handers that screwball, breaking away. They try and pull it. They slap it on the ground. Campaneris dancing around in the background. There it is. Pull him on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. 6-3 Mets. The A's now threatening in the last of the 7th. Just missed, blowing away again. 2 balls and a strike. He's not giving Bando a fastball. Leon trying to bluff Campaneris back. Bando fouls it back, and our count goes to 2-2.
That was a pitch Sal wanted. Got it up and in a little bit. A ball he could call up in the strike zone.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Campaneris going. He steals third. Campaneris stole third. Bando was called out as Campaneris stole third. Well, that's the 2nd out. There's Campaneris on third. That's his 2nd stolen base of the series. Reggie Jackson has struck out, grounded out, and singled. Campaneris stole 3 bases in the playoffs against Baltimore, and 2 down in the World Series against the Mets. Jackson, 1 out of 3. 2 out, runners on first and third, and the A's are trailing by 3. And he hits it in the right center. Campaneris scores. Rudi's going to third, and headlong into second is Jackson. He evidently is coming out of his slump. And we now have final score. The Minnesota Vikings had a struggle. They edged the 49ers today, 17-13. Minnesota's still undefeated. Mike Andrews has gone to second base. And the Rams are still undefeated. They won their 5th in a row. They beat Dallas 37-31. Rusty Staub in the 9th inning fouls it back, and the San Diego Chargers so far upsetting the Oakland Raiders 10-6 in the 3rd period. We have 3 undefeated teams left in professional football. Rusty Staub, the batter. Ball 1, strike 1. Staub playing with an injured shoulder. Grounded out, flied out, struck out, flied out. 0 for 4. John Odom pitching in his 2nd inning of relief. Staub has a base hit to center. He's recovering. Leon Jones has been on base 3 times. He homered to right field in the 2nd. Here's Staub's swing. You can still he's still favoring that arm. Now, he didn't take that really big swing of his. Willie Mays has gone in a run at first base for Staub. Mays at first, 42 years old as a pinch runner. Received a standing ovation yesterday when he was introduced. Said today he really appreciated it from the Oakland fans, American League fans across the bay. Jones has been on 3 times. It's Tenace holding against Mays. Jones has homered, single, walked, and grounded out. He's had 4 hits in 2 games of this series. A pop-up by Cleon Jones. Backpedaling is Gene Tenace. The foul ball, and he has it, and there's 1 out. You Oakland fans looking to the last of the 9th. Odom, the pitcher, scheduled to lead off. Then to the top of the order, Campaneris and Rudi. John Milner is grounded out, flied out, singled and walked. He scored 1 run. In the fourth quarter now, the Oakland Raiders have a 27-17 lead over San Diego. That ball's hit into right field. Willie Mays is stumbled. Mays stumbling going into second, couldn't make the turn to come to third. He lost his footing as he was approaching second base.
Boy, here's an unusual thing. One of baseball's all-time greatest base runners had an easy shot going first to third, and right there he was on the wrong step going around the bag. That's what caused it. He saw that he was off stride to hit the bag, and Willie fell down.
All right, that's Mays at second. Milner at first. We're watching 2 players starting to come out of batting slumps. Reggie Jackson's had 2 hits today, and Milner now is starting to hit the ball again. He didn't hit much in the latter part of September of the playoffs. A strike to Jerry Grody. He's been on base 3 times. That's Lindblad warming up in the A's bullpen. In the 9th inning, the Mets are leading 6-4. They have 2 men on and 1 out. Grody's reached in an error, been hit by a pitch ball and single, and he's popped up. 1 strike to him. 1-1.
Curt, it would almost be a typical Willie Mays play. Try to make up for missing third base if they give him a big lead to take off for third here.
He's at second. Milner's at first. There's a pop foul. That was fair. The infield fly rule would be called. Bando squeezes it for the second out. And Don Hahn, the center fielder, will be up. The Mets will have a new right fielder in the last of the 9th inning. Mays could go to center with Hahn moving to right. Final, Oakland Raiders 27, San Diego 17. Did a great job on the anthem, Tennessee. Tennessee Ernie Ford, who sang our national anthem today, and he was really with it. 1 ball, no strikes. Mays at second, Milner at first, 2 down. 6-4. New York Mets in the 9th inning. There's a bounding ball out to Campaneris. He makes the play to first to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. Last of the 9th coming up, 6-4 New York. That defensive change for the Mets sends Willie Mays to right field in place of Rusty Staub. Willie Mays is 22nd and last year of the National League. Started yesterday's game, now winds up in the last of the 9th inning today in right field. Now, wait a minute, they moved Willie to center field. I was wondering about that. Hahn went to center. I thought Mays would play center, and he went over to right field. Now they switched him. I don't know whether Yogi sent him out that way or changed his mind. So Mays goes to center, and Hahn over to right. And Darren Johnson is batting for John Odom in the last of the 9th inning. The Oakland A's are 2 runs behind. They have Bert Campaneris on deck and then Joe Rudi. And Dick Williams now comes out to talk to the home plate umpire, Augie Donatelli. Darren Johnson went into a bad slump the last month of the year. He's got a floating bone chip in his hand. He didn't have any extra base hits since late August. He wound up the year batting .246, 19 homers, 81 RBIs. But after the A's secured him and made him their designated hitter, he gave him a big boost.
It's one of the biggest boosts of the season. They're talking about the lights. The lights are on here at the Oakland Coliseum right now, Curt, even though the sunshine is out very brightly. But the first day that Darren Johnson joined the A's, he knocked in 4 runs. And he took off from there. And he had a lot of the big kind of hits that the pros really get. With 2 out and the A's behind by a run or 2, he would get a lot of them.
Darren Johnson pinch hitting. And the A's now have only one right-handed pinch hitter left. That's Alan Lewis. They have 2 left-handers in the dugout, Davalillo and Burt. But after Johnson, they're going to the top of their order.
Umpires are asking him to turn the lights off here at the Coliseum. It's unusual that the manager complained about it being too bright.
So the lights go off. And now the pitcher, McGraw's working out of the sunshine into the shadows of the batter, which is disconcerting for a hitter. A strike for the fastball. Tug McGraw working on his 4th inning. He's allowed 1 run in 3 innings of relief today. There's a smash in the left center. Willie Mays over, and it gets by him. He lost his footing again. Darren Johnson's in the second. Willie Mays stumbling again as he did on the bases. He can't seem to get his coordination together today with his feet.
Boy, Curt, this is the thing that I think all sports fans in all areas hate to see, is a great one playing in his last years having this kind of trouble, standing up and falling down, that kind of thing. We'll have a pinch runner now. The Panamanian Express, Alan Lewis, goes in to run for Darren Johnson.
I think the sun bothered Willie. 10 years ago, he would have put that ball in his hip pocket.
Underhanded.
With blindfolds on him.
Right.
And a handkerchief. Now, Darren Johnson, they have scored a double for Darren Johnson. He's replaced by Alan Lewis. Now Barrett has to be worried. The A's have the top of the order up, and the batter Campaneris is the tying run. Alan Lewis, a pinch runner at second. Campaneris looks at ball 1. They're not looking for any bunt, but they're looking for Campy to slap the ball, and they're playing tight at first and third. Ball 2. 2-0 to Campaneris.
Boy, this is the man the Mets really want to keep off the bases, and as he guards the third base foul line, they can't allow any kind of an extra base hit here.
Miller is playing the same way over at first. Campaneris has tripled today in 3 times. Strike to Campaneris, 2-1. George Stone, a left-hander. Charlie Finley and American League President Joe Cronin chatting. Dick Williams. Strike 2. McGraw comes right in with it. 2-2 to Burt Campaneris. Alan Lewis is out at second base with nobody out in the last of the 9th inning. Tug McGraw. 2-2 delivery. Low to him, ball 3, 3-2.
He had him fooled there, Curt. That was a screwball. If that's over the plate, Campaneris was through.
3-2. Joe Rudi will be up next. Good shot of that sunshine, and then the ball spinning into the shadows. 3-2 delivery. Took him out. A high pitch, and he got away with it. So Tug McGraw has struck out his 4th batter in 3 1/3 innings of relief.
You can see, Curt, how hard it is to walk Campaneris. This looked like ball 4, possibly. Well, it might not have been all that high either. You can't tell from this angle, but from up here looking down on it, it looked as if he might have swung at ball 4. With 2 strikes, he didn't want to take any chances on what would happen. I think the big surprise to me in McGraw's pitching and a lot of the A's is the big strikes he's getting on his fastball, Curt.
Well, he put him down in order in the 6th. He had troubles in the 7th. He hit a batter, walked the man, had a double, and he came right back in the 8th to retire the side. Darren Johnson led off the 9th with a double. But he struck out Campaneris, and Joe Rudi's up. Rudi's doubled and singled in 3 official trips. Ball 1 and walked. Joe Rudi's been on base 3 times. 6-4, the New York Mets are 2 outs away from evening up the World Series. Sending it back to New York Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. 1 ball, no strikes. One and one to Rudi. A fastball again.
He has really challenged some of these hitters with that. He challenged Tenace twice and struck Bando out with it.
You have to have some flair to be a great reliever. McGraw has that flair. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, good stuff helps too. He hits it to third. Dropped by Garrett. Up. He still has time, and he's got him. Garrett kept his presence. He was looking to second to see what Lewis was going to do. Knocked it down. Kept his cool and still made the play.
He's right on that foul line, too, Curt. There's a ball that might have been tough for him if he's off the line. He just took his eyes off the ball, you could see, to see what Lewis was going to do. But he had it in front of him. It was no tough play at all.
All right, the A's are down to their last out. Dick Williams doesn't like it. Sal Bando has tripled in 4 times. There's a runner at second. 2 down. The A's are 2 runs behind. George Stone continues to nonchalantly warm up in the Met bullpen in case he would be needed. A ball to Bando. Lewis at second. Doug McGraw, native Californian. Foul ball, 1 and 1. Lewis at second. I think the A's better get used to looking at McGraw. I think they're going to see plenty of him in this series.
And Yogi just kept throwing those left-handers out there. Parker worked only 1 inning today.
There's his screwball. I mean, he's really got these A's tied up with that pitch. He's missed with some of them. Tom Seaver, John Matlack, alongside of Berra, starting to get a happy look on their faces. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2 to Bando. McGraw teasing everybody with more suspense. 6-4 Mets, last of the 9th. 2-2. Foul back.
Right at him with a letter-high fastball, and I doubt that Bando sees another one of those.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lewis leads off second. Didn't miss by much inside. 3-2. Pitch. All 4, and the A's have the tying runs on. The batter is Reggie Jackson. Across it. Just missed. All right, now Jackson, after striking out and grounding out, singled to right in the 5th and doubled to right in the 7th. He doubled off McGraw. And they're waving. Let's see who they're trying to bring in. They're waving the right fielder on.
They're trying to move Willie Mays over a little bit, maybe. Yeah, Willie was playing him straight up. They're trying to move Mays over in center field into right center.
Reggie Jackson up. The tying runs on for the A's. 2 down, last of the 9th inning. Breaking delivery over for a strike. Charlie Finley. Jackson 2 out of 4. Hitless yesterday. And remember, he has real power. 32 homers this year. We haven't seen that power in the playoffs of the World Series yet. 1 strike. He hits a ground ball in the right field. Lewis is scoring. Over to third is Bando. And it's now 6-5, New York. And the A's have the tying run at third, the winning run at first, as Jackson delivers his 3rd hit in a row.
Well, that That's a look at the crowd that has gotten used to seeing the A's play tight ball games. And now Gene Tenace, the hero of last year for the A's in the World Series, is going to come up for another shot at it. McGraw struck him out in the 7th inning, and he did it by starting him off with 2 fastballs. Then he threw 2 screwballs, missing with 1, getting the other one over. Now, if you're Gene Tenace, what are you going to be guessing here?
Well, I know Tenace was the hero of the series last year. This year, the Mets have checked him. He's walked twice, hit into a double play, and struck out today. And he hits it into left field. The A's have tied the game. The A's tie it up and have a chance to win it now. Tenace drilled a hard line drive. And look at those banners going behind the A's dugout. And the crowd on its feet roaring here in the Oakland Coliseum. They didn't make much noise here in Oakland. All right, Jesus Alou's up. Alou to the box. We're going to extra innings. Alou bounces out on the first pitch. The A's tied it in the 9th. They had 2 runs on 3 hits. No errors. They left 2. At the end of 9, a game 6-6. Raleigh fingers. The roar for Reggie Jackson out in center. Jackson getting a standing ovation out there from the fans. He acknowledges it. 3 hits in a row today off left-handed pitching. They're going out his first 2 times up. Dick Williams is going over the lineup cards now with the umpire, Augie Donatelli. And Raleigh Fingers, who yesterday went 3 2/3 innings. Yogi Berra saw his club blow that lead in the 9th. 3 1/3 yesterday for Raleigh Fingers. The Mets will have Bud Harrelson leading off. We don't know who'll bat next. Harrelson's played shallow. Fingers, 6 games. He appeared in last World Series. The second one today.
Now I think they're asking to turn the lights on now, Curt.
Lights are on. Dick Williams went out and talked before the 9th about turning the lights on. He turned them off. The lights are not on. The shadows now are deeper, as you can see. They're gradually creeping toward the pitching mound. Maybe they want these lights on now to cut the shadows. You have to turn the lights on before the start of an inning. Same advantage or disadvantage for both teams, however you want to put it.
Dick Williams is trying to find the electrician, I believe.
Maybe he has a card.
Fingers is in bright sunshine here, but the shadows come on very quickly right out in front of that mound.
Doug McCraw is still out on deck. He would be due to bat behind Harrelson. John Odom did a good job in relief for the A's with his club behind. He came in and pitched the 8th and 9th innings and shut out the Mets. Kept his team close. And game 2 of the World Series is tied 6-6. We're going to the 10th inning. The A's were trailing 6-3 today. They got a run in the 7th and 2 in the 9th. The last 8 times that a series game went into extra innings, it was decided in the 10th. No series game has gone more than 10 innings since the Dodgers beat the Yankees 6-5 in 11 innings in 1952. Up on the A's scoreboard, they have a sign, "Go get him, Raleigh." Here are the lights on now. Go get him, Raleigh, as the lights come on.
They're trying to get Joe Rudi's attention in left field. Irv Norton, you saw there a minute ago waving. That's at whom they were waving. They're trying to get him in for Harrelson.
All right, Bud Harrelson. 1 hit in 4 times. Played shallow toward left, Bando. In close at third, it's a strike. Raleigh Fingers yesterday Three in the third innings. He allowed 3 hits, no runs. He walked 1. He struck out 3. He was a bit wild the first 2 innings of relief. The 1-strike pitch. Low and away to Bud Harrelson. And now the sign goes out to the Met bullpen again, Monty. It's George Stone. Number 40, George Stone. This will be about the 3rd time he's warmed up. Strike 2. Now the A's fans are on fire. They've seen their team come back with a dramatic rally in the last of the 9th. They smell blood.
We've seen it so many times here this year, Curt. It's just been incredible how many times they'll be behind in the 9th and go out and tie it up or win it.
The 1-2 pitch to Harrelson. He crowds him for a 2-2 count.
I think that's the big advantage you have at a home crowd, Curt, and they tell us the Shea Stadium has got to be that way, and that's why the Mets felt they were favored when they went back for the final 3 against Cincinnati at home.
There's nobody will ever argue. You'd rather have that last time at bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 5 pitchers today have been used by the Oakland A's. There's a shot by Campaneris in the center field. Bud Harrelson's on to start the 10th. Just to the left of Campy. Now McGraw is coming out. And everybody in the park's looking for him to bunt.
I would imagine that right here, here's the pitch. You can see where it was on Harrelson. It was about waist high right down the middle, and he just hit it out of the reach of Campaneris. With Dick Green in the lineup, the A's might have their second baseman charging here, but Mike Andrews hasn't played that much at second base for Oakland, so I would imagine that Bando and Tenace would be the men charging the plate here, and Andrews would go to cover first.
Andrews is the 3rd second baseman used by the A's today. Doug McGraw. Bando will be ready to come in on him. He's already creeping in. Goes Tenace. It's pushed to the box. Fingers throws to second. Safe. Back to first. Out. But Harrelson safe at second. And the Mets now have the go-ahead run at second base. Fingers gambled. And he was late at second base.
Here comes Bando in, but they bunt the ball away from Bando. Fingers picked it up, made a good throw. Just out of our picture where Campaneris' foot was on that angle, but you can see that his relay to first did nail the runner there for 1 out.
1 out. Top of the order up now. Wayne Garrett. Let's take a look at this runner going into second on that last play. This is Bud Harrelson. And he beats the throw. He's safe. Ball 1 to Wayne Garrett. Garrett hit a home run in the 3rd. That's been his lone hit today. He has struck out 3 times a walk. 1 out of 4. Game tied 6-6 in the top of the 10th. Bud Harrelson is second, 1 down. Downing ball to first base. Bad hop. Tenace flips the Fingers. Safe. Fingers off the bag. Fingers was not on the bag. The ball nearly hopped over Tenace's head on a bad hop. Fingers came over on a high throw. His feet were not on the bag.
Here it is again. You'll see it take a terrible hop over Gene Tenace, and he made a fine play just getting to it. Well, looks like it might have hit the bag.
Might have hit the front of the bag.
Fine play by Tenace right here, but now he's got to toss it to Fingers. And his foot is off the bag as he went up to catch it.
I can see the finish of that. Leon now has gone hitless in 4 times. The A's have the infield drawn in with 1 out, runners on first and third. Ball, look out. Boy, coming up was Harrelson.
Somebody missed a sign.
They missed a sign, and I thought Fosse had a chance to pick him off. Harrelson was really coming up, and it appeared as if they had the squeeze on, but not the suicide squeeze. Now Bando and Mike Andrews, the second baseman, he wants to counsel him. Bando looks to the A's dugout to get a sign. How do you want to play? That's the signals they use. Monty can explain that to you.
Right. The A's have a series of signs, and Bando always flicks them, and he'll use his shirt or his head. On the coverage plays, they use their shirt. And on trick plays, Bando uses his head, his ears, nose, mouth.
1 ball, no strikes to Felix Mion. Runners on first and third for the Mets. There's a smash foul down the right field line. Wayne Garrett going back to first, and Bud Harrelson to third. Oh, this Harrelson's a fine little ball player.
Does a lot of things to beat you, to keep innings alive,
Right.
and to cut off the big offense with his fine defensive plays.
1 ball, 1 strike. Raleigh Fingers pitching to Felix Mion. Willie Mays is on deck. Ball 2, strike 1. 2-1. 2 runners again. Mays intently watching from the on-deck circle. This is a 2-1 pitch coming up. It's a high fly into left field. Not too deep. Rudi's there. Tagging is Harrelson. Will he gamble? He's coming. Here's the throw. And he is out at home plate. He's out. Willie Mays. Rushing up. Yogi Berra arguing. The Mets have gone wild on the double play. Joe Rudi throws out Bud Harrelson. Willie Mays arguing. Here it is, Monty.
Here it is. Harrelson was going to go all the way. The throw from Rudi, who is a fine thrower, got to Fosse. The question is, did Fosse tag him? He's got it in plenty of time to tag him. He might have missed him right there. You can't tell with this angle, but he definitely had a shot at him.
Let's look at this angle now. Rudi lets it go. A great throw by Rudi. Coming in. Fosse has it now, reaches for it, but it appears that he missed him.
They look at the position of the umpire here, Curt. He's lying down on the ground. Look at this. He really wants to get a look at it.
Look at Willie Mays saying, no! Right down there with the umpire. All right, I want to see what you fans think of this play. This will be discussed all night tonight. Here's Bud Harrelson coming in on a fly ball to shallow left. Rudi's making his throw now to the plate to Fosse. And it appears to us on this rerun that he is not tagged. Fosse reaching out on that rerun from that angle definitely looked like he missed him. But here's the last of the 10th. Ray Fosse's up, and the first pitch is strike. Well, we showed you that rerun. They'll be rerunning that 100 times tonight around America. News shows on NBC. Strike. 1 ball, 1 to Fosse, who's hitless in 3 times. So that was a double play. And the game is tied 6-6 in the last of the 10th. The screwball by Tug McGraw has Fosse fooled. McGraw has pitched 4 innings of relief. Allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, walked 2. He has struck out 3. He pitched 2 innings yesterday. He's actually given 3 runs up today. Tantalizing pitch again, a 2-2 count. Mike Andrews is on deck. And then the pitcher, Raleigh Fingers. That's Andrews. Struck him out on the fastball. McGraw, you know, he gives you this, gives you that. He didn't suddenly pop that fastball in. 1 out in the last of the 10th inning for the Oakland A's. The late Tudor's in. They were trailing 6-3. They scored a run in the 7th. Reggie Jackson's double in the 9th. They had 2 down. Bando walk. Jackson single after Johnson had led off with a double. Ball that Willie Mays lost somewhat in the sun. Foul back. Jackson knocked in a run. Then Gene Tenace singled to left on the first pitch to drive in the tying run. So the A's rallied to keep it going.
Curt, Mike Andrews was on Dick Williams' 1967 Boston Red Sox Miracle Championship team in the American League.
He did a good job that year for the Red Sox, especially with the bat. A manager never forgets a player that does a good job. You know, he has confidence in him, Monty.
That's right, and as soon as he became available from Chicago, Dick Williams told Charlie Finley, "I'd like to have him. He'll be able to help us."
2-strike pitch to Mike Andrews. A ball, 1-2. This game is tied 6-6, last of the 10th inning. It's been packed with just about everything you'd want. Home runs, some bad plays, some great plays. The most discussed play, though, will be the tag at the plate that they have called a double play.
Curt, I think that shot that we had of Willie Mays down on his knees pleading with Donatelli was as dramatic a shot as I've ever seen on television.
He wasn't pleading, I don't think.
Not exactly.
2-2. I think he was saying some other things. A 2-2 delivery. All 3 in the dirt to Mike Andrews. 3-2. Raleigh Fingers will be up next. There's no action in the A's bullpen. And there's Fingers. 2 of baseball's premier relievers are going at it now, Fingers and McGraw. The 3-2 pitch. Strike 3, he's out. McGraw's had an odd pattern today. He puts him down in order 1 inning, and he struggled the next inning. Came back in the 8th after giving up a run, facing 6 batters in the 7th. He put him down in order in the 8th. And he gave up 2 runs in the 9th. Now he's retired the first 2 batters in the 10th. Raleigh Fingers. With 2 down, nobody on. 6-6 tie. Ball 1 to Fingers. Campaneris on deck. One ball, 1 strike. If we go to the 11th, there's Campaneris. Mays, Jones, and Milner will be up for the Mets. And Monte Moore will be telling you about it. A 1-1 pitch. 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. $50,000 fans today, and a beautiful sunshiny day. Watch a high fly. Mays out in center field. Willie's coming on. And he has it. I think he lost the ball in the sun at first. He's out. 1, 2, 3, they go down. We're going to the 11th inning with a score 6-6. We pause now for station identification.
Willie Mays batting in the 11th inning with a count of 1 ball and no strikes. Ball 2.
Monty, it's interesting. Tony Kubek has come back upstairs. He was down on the field preparing for some post-game interviews if we had time. Did you hear anything down there interesting on that tag at the plate?
I did overhear something, and I saw 3 angles on the replay, which it was difficult to tell on, but I did overhear Fosse saying to his own players, "I think I brushed him."
With the ball or the shoulder? 2-0 on Willie Mays. Fouled off, and you know Willie's trying to hit one downtown here. Fingers came on in relief in the 10th inning. Misses high, ball 3. On deck, Jones. Paul Lindblad goes to work in the Oakland bullpen. Willie pops it up. It's right out in front of the plate, and Raleigh Fingers is calling for Gene Tenace to make the play on it. He staggered around a little bit and caught it. That couldn't have been lost in the sun. Look at Gino. Look at my heart.
Relief he has.
I tell you, he's a dandy.
Gene, World Series pressure taking place right now. Gino really making sure on it.
Here's Cleon Jones. He homered in the 2nd inning, single in the 4th, walked and scored in the 6th, and twice They've gotten him since then on a ground out and a pop-up. Paul Lindblad sits down again. He's the only man left in the Oakland bullpen who is a reliever. Sidearm slider, ball one. Fingers hasn't thrown many breaking balls since coming on here. Breaking ball, strike call. Fingers breaking ball is a hard slider, but it's a big breaking slider. He'll throw it either over the top or from the side. There it is. And he had Jones out front. The men who manage Major League Baseball teams have got to have some pretty tough boilers, particularly going through a 5-game playoffs. The Mets, of course, had that tough last week just to win the division. Taking a shot at the outside corner with a fastball. Raleigh missed it. There's Dick Williams. Twice has been manager of the year in the American League. Once with Boston and once with the Oakland A's. It hit him. Raleigh dropped down sidearm and hit Cleon Jones with a breaking ball.
Let's look at it again. Early in the ball game, we had an important pitch thrown by the opposing relief pitcher, Tug McGraw, which may have been a big pitch and had kept the A's in this ball game to go in the extra inning. That was the one with 2 strikes at first that hit Campaneris off the helmet. A big run scored in that play.
1 out, 11th inning. Here's John Milner, who led the Mets in home runs this year. That umpire looking in, American League umpire Jerry Neudecker. Notice the difference in the uniforms of these umpires. American League umpires in maroon jackets, the National Leaguers in dark blue. Fouled off, and he really got a good pitch to hit right then. Scores tied at 6 apiece after 2 out. In the 9th inning, Sal Bando worked McGraw for a walk. Reggie Jackson followed with a single. Gene Tenace followed with another, and that tied the game. Fingers missing, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. You can just see him once in a while rear back and really try to get something extra on that fastball. The outfielders are all deep. Jackson, the center fielder, shaded just a bit towards right center field for Milner. Foul ball. I don't know what the longest streak that McGraw has worked this year, but he worked a couple of innings yesterday. He's gone 5 today. Fingers was in yesterday's game for 3 innings.
Both bullpens, especially McGraw and Fingers, going to relish that off day tomorrow, give them some rest for Tuesday.
Milner's really trying to jerk one here. He's been on top of those last 2 pitches. From behind first base, you see Gene Tenace holding the inside corner against Cleon Jones. Breaking ball. He tried the give-up pitch then and missed outside, says the plate umpire. That was that little subtle motion with the left hand. The give-up pitch is one where they're ahead of the batter. They started off outside to make it look as if it's going to be way outside. The batter will give up on it. It just keeps turning and hits that outside corner. Raleigh thought he had it. Struck him out with a breaking ball. Raleigh Fingers' first strikeout, and Sal Bando goes in to talk And what he's going to remind Raleigh Fingers of here is to keep the ball down on Jerry Grody, because this player has some power. He just missed the foul pole yesterday. The A's 6, the Mets 6, 11th inning of game number 2 being played at the Oakland Coliseum. Strike call. Good live fastball. Sal Bando, the Oakland A's third baseman, giving up a lot of ground to his left as he stands almost on the foul line at third base. It would take an extra base blow here to score the runner from first, and they're not going to get it to the right of Bando. Raleigh missing outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is a must game for the Mets. They're having that lead. They let this one get away. Down 2 games. Put them in a tough spot, even though they're going home.
They're going home, and they've got their 2 aces to go those next 2 games, Seaver and Matlack. Breaking ball, just missed. Boy, Fingers' slider's really breaking a long ways, and he's missing awfully close on some of it.
Breaking so much, there's Yogi Berra, the only other man to win a pennant, both the National and the American League. The other, Joe McCarthy. It's breaking almost as big as a flat curveball of these right-handers, bigger than the slider, as you normally call a slider.
Back to the fastball. He missed outside with it. He's gone a 3-1 count now on a batter that he didn't want to have to get behind. When Fingers gets in trouble with that breaking ball, it's when he hangs it on the inside to the right-hand batter, because the batter's first reaction is to bail out just a little bit. See if Jones goes on a 3-1 count here. He's not going. Line drive left field. It's a base hit. Jones goes to second as Rudi picks the ball up, and now the Mets have a man in scoring position, and Don Hahn comes up. Fingers missed with some awfully close pitches on Grody, and then got to the count where he had to throw one in there, and Grody drove it into left. Hahn got a base hit that knocked in a run in the 6th inning. It was a top roller down the third base line with the bases loaded off Horacio Pena. Fingers went at him with hard stuff. The A's have kept away from Hahn mostly in this series. Fingers went after him that time. About to the middle of the plate, but up high, looking at the runners. At second, Jones, and at first, Grody. 2 down in the 11th. The A's will have the top of their batting order up in the last of the 11th. Foul ball over the Met bullpen and into the crowd. Jones goes back to second base. Sal Bando in from third a little ways. Fosse's going to talk to Raleigh now.
2 strikes on this hitter. They don't want to make a mistake right here. They can afford to really shoot for the corners. Little reminder, don't lose your concentration in this situation.
Boy, he busted it high. That's as hard as Raleigh's thrown the ball today. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Don Hahn, a .227 hitter who's driven in 21 runs this year for New York. He was tough down the stretch for them. Back to the curveball. It's hit on the ground at Campaneris. He's going to go to first base. Got him. We go to the last half of the 11th inning. The score, the Mets 6 and the A's 6.
Harrelson doubles, and McGraw's sacrifice attempt pops over the head of hard-charging Sal Bando, and the Mets have runners on first and third. Raleigh Fingers recovers to get 2 outs, and it's all up to Willie Mays. The final hit of Willie's fabulous career breaks the tie, and the Mets lead 7-6. Paul Lindblad looks for the 3rd out with John Milner at the plate. As Milner's bouncer goes through the legs of second baseman Mike Andrews, McGraw and Mays come home, and the Mets now have a 3-run advantage. The strange saga of Mike Andrews is just beginning. Jerry Grody is ruled safe on this play with another error charged to Andrews for a wide throw, pulling Tenace off first. Late afternoon shadows mixed with sunshine combine to hide yet another fly ball. Mays can't locate it, and it's a leadoff triple for Reggie Jackson. McGraw departs in favor of George Stone. Stone becomes the 11th pitcher of the day, tying a World Series record. Stone finally settles the issue after Jesus Alou singles Jackson home, and the Mets escape with a wild and woolly 10-7 victory accomplished in a mere 4 hours and 13 minutes. It's a new series marathon mark, and just about the same amount of time it takes to fly cross-country from the Bay Area to the glittering lights of New York City.